Hello YouTube fragrance friends, Tommy with Studio Sense here, bringing you more information about a brand new fragrance release. So today's fragrance that we're going to be talking about is a flanker of a line of fragrances that have been gourmand date night wonders. It was announced about a month ago. Finally, I actually have it. I'm extremely happy about this particular new release. It's kind of one of those things that when your secret weapon is no longer a secret. The house of the fragrance release is Azzaro, and the fragrance itself is the Most Wanted Parfum. So when we come back, we're going to take a closer look at this date night wonder. That and more is coming your way, so stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. So I'm extremely happy to be able to bring you guys a brief unboxing and first impressions of the new flanker by Azzaro called the Most Wanted Parfum. Just looking at the very brief notes in the fragrance itself, it looks like the Parfum version is going to take the Wanted by Night DNA and push it even further, even though this is a flanker of the Most Wanted. So excited to bring you guys my first impressions of this fragrance. Before we do anything else, in typical fashion, let's take a closer look at that presentation. So the color theme for this is just really dark, and again, I overuse that word rich, but I can't help it because that's exactly what it is. In bronze lettering, Azzaro the Most Wanted Parfum, and then Azzaro. It's a 100 ml bottle, 3.38 fluid ounces. On the front of the box with the Azzaro revolver logo in the middle. One side of the box has no information. The other side of the box says, Azzaro, life is a celebration. Step into the light and enjoy the moment. It's your time to shine. On the bottom of that side is also address information. On the back of the box, we've got precautions, additional ingredients information, and a UPC. On the very bottom of the box, we've got the batch code, some various stickers, as well as a QR code. I will post the batch code in case you're interested in checking checkfresh.com or another legitimate website. The bottle itself is kind of a fusion of the Most Wanted and Wanted by Night. It's not as dark as the Most Wanted, and it's not as light as Wanted by Night. It's in between. The gun portion of the presentation is a little bit darker than Wanted by Night, but not as dark as the Most Wanted, and the bottom of the bottle is glass. The glass is transparent. The juice is a rich golden bronze. The top of the cap, of course, has the Azzaro revolver logo. On the very bottom of the glass, it says Azzaro on both sides, and that is embossed. And on the bottom of the bottle, you've got a small round adhesive sticker with the additional fragrance information. I've always been a fan of this presentation. I really like what it represents. It's just really cool looking. When it sits on the shelf, it definitely sets itself apart from other fragrances beside it. Definitely looks masculine, modern, and classic, just like if you're, an aficionado of guns and you are a gun collector, you know exactly what I mean by that. The color of the juice is a lot darker. It's a lot richer looking, so that gives us an idea of what we're headed for in terms of the fragrance aroma itself. So excited to get into that. But let's talk about that formula a little bit. Now that we looked at the presentation, it's very similar to the other flankers. I do like the fact that it's a kind of a fusion between the Most Wanted and Wanted by Night, somewhere in between. Even though that's the presentation, we know that the notes or the fragrance itself is going to be the darkest yet so far because of that heavier concentration of oils. So what are the notes in the Most Wanted Parfum? The Most Wanted Parfum by Azzaro features top note of red ginger with a heart note or accord of incandescent woods, resting on a base of bourbon vanilla and toffee. So not a lot of published notes in this fragrance. I'm positive that there are more. I'm not going to go into detail of what I think is in the fragrance. Just going to smell it and talk about what they mean by incandescent wood accord. So I'm very curious about that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and test out the fragrance. There have been some issues with Wanted by Night in getting the cap off and on, but it feels like they haven't changed the form factor at all, but they seem like they fixed the issue. So the cap comes off and on very easily. The aperture is white, and against that dark background, it's very easy to see and aim. That's what we're going to do. So it sprays a relatively short burst, but there's a goodly amount of juice in that burst, so that's great. So when you're spraying this on, you want to hold it a few inches away from the area that you want to saturate. super happy with this. I'm really happy that they're going in the direction that I really thought they would. Reading over those notes, it's kind of hard to tell where it's going to go. But this, to me, is more of a spiritual successor of Wanted by Night than it is an actual flanker of the Most Wanted Eau de Parfum. Even though that in actuality is. And I'll give you some reasons other than just my opinion as to why I think that. First of all, it smells amazing. It smells like a deeper, darker, denser, richer version of Wanted by Night. And Wanted by Night is by far probably the best sold date night fragrance in the Azzaro lineup of Wanted. For sure, that's the case. So I'm really happy to see that they're infusing that same seductive overall scent profile and DNA within the Most Wanted Parfum. Ah, smells so good. I'm really not going to talk about what I feel like the open and the heart and the mid. This is one of those scent profiles that was combined to give you an original single experience. What I mean by that is when you spray this on, it's not something, because of its density, because it's a heavier fragrance, you're not getting that, oh, there's a little bit of bergamot here, and okay, the more that you wait, you get a little bit of rosemary here. It's not one of those that you can necessarily, at least to my nose, break down into a large degree. It's just a single, uniform, aromatic fougere experience, and that's what I think they've succeeded in doing in this fragrance. The Most Wanted Parfum is definitely going to be one of those that you want to be very careful of overspraying. It's definitely going to be something that you can wear to where people are. If you work in a brick and mortar location, there are people in an office, you can definitely wear this safely at work. Just don't overspray it. By that I mean just put a couple sprays, 2 or 3 sprays at the most on pulse points. Probably going to be fine for the day. Typically how it works with higher concentration of oils is that they don't project as much, but they last longer, holding that aromatic molecule closer to your skin instead of projecting it out there. What do they mean by incandescent wood? All it really means is, if you look up the definition of incandescent, it's just light. Something that's so hot or warm that it's emitting light. So like wood on fire. I'll show you a brief clip of a video that Azzaro created for the Most Wanted when they're talking about that toffee and the wood accord, the woody, the woodsy notes that are used in the fragrance, and it shows that same thing, wood on fire. So it's got kind of that warm, hot, or burnt after effect. If you've ever created a wood fire, if you have a wood stove, that wood starts burning, so you get a little bit of that wood smoke along with the burning wood. That's incandescent wood. So it's just a warmer, richer, woodsy experience. You combine that with that edible toffee that's in the Most Wanted, and then that red ginger. Red ginger is just ginger. It's just a more hearty, more pungent, and powerfully projecting kind of ginger than you get the Most Wanted Parfum. I'll talk about why it's a spiritual successor to Wanted by Night instead of the Most Wanted. If you take a look at the poster that talk about the flankers, it kind of describes the fragrances themselves. At the very bottom of the poster, it shows Wanted by Night. It says woody, ambery, and spicy. And then the Most Wanted, it talks about it's a fougere. It's also ambery and woody. And then the Most Wanted Parfum, what we're talking about today, it's also a fougere. It's ambery, spicy. So if you look at Wanted by Night, ambery, spicy, and then the Most Wanted Parfum, ambery, spicy, right? So 2 out of 3, it has more in common with Wanted by Night than it does the Most Wanted. That doesn't necessarily mean Azzaro is not going to release a Wanted by Night Parfum version. Maybe they will, or Le Parfum. That would be great. I'll definitely be in line to review that as well. But this is, again, just smells so much closer to the Wanted by Night DNA, just darkening it up, enriching it quite a bit, and making it hopefully as long lasting, because Wanted by Night is got some great longevity. The performance of this, I feel like, is going to be in line with that due to the concentration of oils. It's going to be a wonderful date night fragrance. It does have that very powerfully seductive, sexy kind of tonality to it, and texture to it. And I really like that. Women absolutely love Wanted by Night. I have no doubts that women are going to love the Most Wanted Parfum, and definitely going to be an attention grabber. So if you're interested in getting compliments, and pulling other people's attention, the Most Wanted Parfum is definitely going to do that for you. Right now, you can get it at most retailers. Depending upon what size you want, it does come in a 50 ml size and a 100 ml size. I will post the prices here because they are subject to change, but it is a new release. If you do want to wait until it hits discounters, it's probably going to be a little while, but it will be discounted quite a bit. If you're working on a budget, just simply get a smaller size, get the 50 ml size, or again, wait until it hits discounter. But I might have to give it some wear, and then I'll give you guys a full rundown in a full review of what I think of the Most Wanted Parfum. Well guys, thanks so much for checking out my unboxing and first impressions of this new Azzaro, the Most Wanted Parfum, Wanted Flanker. I really think it's going to be a fantastic fragrance. I think you're going to be really happy with the results. If you already own the fragrance, let me know what your thoughts are on it in the comments below. Thanks so much for stopping by and checking out today's video. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow.